Hello again. Welcome back to Knitting with Color Loops. As you can see, I finished the prototype of the Ohlone sweater, and it's really comfy and cozy. I took a little walk in the woods to show it in its natural habitat, and I'll insert that here. Okay, I'm back. I also want to show you the original design sketch that I had for this because it shows how the sweater is pretty true to the fit. For the real pattern, I plan on loosening it up, deepening the V, making it fit more like a winter sweater, because this thickness of yarn, even though it's transitional sweater appropriate for where I live, it's not a year-round option to wear something this thick for most people. So I'm modifying the pattern to reflect that more as a layering piece. I got the yarn that I plan on making the next version. It's from Fleece and Harmony. It's their Selkirk worsted, and I really like it. I got this beautiful fur color, and it knitted up beautifully. Oops, I have some dog hair, of course. And I used some Rowan fingering weight yarn held double with some silk mohair from Shibui, and it turned out very subtle. Let's see if I can. I did a couple of little experiments, as you can see. But this center version is the one I think I like. It's going to be much less contrast than this, but I think you can do whatever you want for this kind of design motif. I mean, high contrast is great for some things, but having a more subtle, just more delicate effect, I think is going to work really well for my wardrobe, and so I'm going to plan on making this for me and maybe give this to one of my sisters. It depends if they like brown. As you can see, I'm very much into brown. I find it everywhere in my house and in my wardrobe. So I don't know. If they want a different sweater, I'll make a different sweater for them. That's sort of where I'm at. I'm slowly trying to get every one of my sisters a sweater, and I have, how many sisters do I? I have 4 sisters. I had to count because I have 2 brothers also. So a lot of people to knit for, and I'm happy about that because I love knitting for other people. It's sort of hard to keep things in my wardrobe for myself. So I just don't know about this sweater, but I'm happy with how it turned out, and I'm looking forward to knitting the next one. The pattern's coming along. It's a really fun pattern because instead of counting where you do things, everything is based on following the formula of the color loop. So once you have the yoke going, you just do what you're supposed to every 4 rows for that color loop, and you don't worry about any other directions. And you end up with the shape of the yoke, and then you just separate for the sleeves, and then do what you want after that. So I think it's going to be a really fun knit. And I'm very excited because the yarn dyer, Joanna from Knit Spin Farms, who I am so happy to be involved with. I have been buying bats of wool to spin from her, and then I can't help but buy self-striping yarn from her. And I made the knit loop socks with her yarn. And when she found out that I'm a designer, because she didn't know that, we talked about working together for a design, and I wanted to make a fingering version of this sweater concept. It won't have these exact motifs, but I made a little swatch, and you can see it's more, many more lines, and it's a broken line, interrupted line, and it's going to be self-striping yarn for the yoke with a deeper V, and a main collar for the neckband and the rest of the sweater, sleeves and body. And I think it will be a really nice lightweight. It's, oh my goodness, it's so stretchy. I can't wait to knit this. I knit this really fast, and it just, for me, knitting with color loops, I said this before, but I can't stop. So I find it so fun. I'm really curious to know if anybody else catches the bug. So we'll see. But anyhow, this sweater, I think the pattern for this sweater, maybe not this sweater, but this version will have a V-neck cardigan version, a V-neck pullover version, and a crew neck circular yoke version. All of them very easy modifications using the color loop concept. So I'm super excited about that. I think that will happen rather quickly. So if anyone is interested in test knitting any of these ideas, please let me know. I'm working on them. And I'm enjoying working on more than one project at a time, which is interesting because I've always been sort of a monogamous type person, knitter. But once I stopped knitting only socks, I think I was monogamous with sock knitting. It just drove me crazy to not be able to finish the pair of socks I was currently working on. So I always just wanted to do that pair and hurry up and finish it so I could do the next pair, or singleton in the case of my swatch socks. But once I got going on sweaters, I've started having sweaters in different stages of completion, plus multiple pairs of socks, and it does drive me a little crazy to think about all my projects, but I like them all, so I'm actually enjoying it. And if I'm waiting for yarn, for example, or I don't want to go past a certain point in the sweater because I'm working on that part in a pattern, then it makes sense to have multiple projects. And so I'll show you my little sock that I've been doing. Here's a completed singleton, and this was inspired because I've knit patterns where, I forget what the stitch is called, where you pull the third stitch over and then do a knit yarn over knit, and it's like a little smocking stitch. Let's see if I can come closer. And I've always known you could do that with color loops. It makes a little hole in the middle. It's a little bit lacy. It's pretty. And I thought I would just do that and just have it be simple. But you also know that I have a sock machine and I love to play with that too. I wish I could just knit all day long. There's so many things to try. But I was thinking along the lines of hybrid socks to utilize the machine effectively and also be able to knit the parts of a sock by hand that I truly love to do, like the heel flap. I would try something new with this. So I did a slip stitched pre-heel, the ankle snug that I call it, and then I did the slip stitch heel flap, and then I did the heel turn, and then I put all of this on the sock machine and did the reductions to the half the total stitch count, so that this part would equal this part. And I have pictures of this, sort of sloppy pictures on my ironing board that I'll insert so that you can see that. So you can see that I had to knit this down far enough to meet with this. So essentially I knit to here so that it was like a front panel that equaled the heel flap. So all of these stitches equal all of these stitches. And then when I did these reductions, I joined them together and knit them around and then did the toe on the machine. And then after that, I had gaps right here that I had to stitch up, and I just did a whip stitch, and I didn't even try to match stitch to stitch perfectly because when I was hanging these stitches on the knitting machine, I didn't get my exact number, so there was a little fudging in there. But I think I'll get better at it for the next sock. I have ways to go. This is car knitting, which is good because I have stuff that I have to wait in the car for. Soccer and orthodontist appointments and, you know, life. So it's nice to have car knitting. And my idea is, when I get to that point, is that for when I do the front flap, I'm going to also do a garter ridge on the edges so that it's easier to match the stitches up, and it will look neater. So I think that will be good. The sock is stretchy and comfortable, just like the other socks. I'll show you the reverse. Oh, I haven't woven in any of the, there are a couple more ends when you're doing the stitch up version, but I'll do that. I mean, that's fine. I don't think there's going to be any perfect solution to the hybrid sock, but you can see that the color loops are neat and tidy and stretchy. And what I did is I did 3-foot long loops for the shorter ones. I'm sorry, I'm twisting the sock around, and 6-foot loops for the longer ones. And that worked out pretty well. And if I really wanted to, I could calculate it all the way to here so that I had more going into the instep here. But I liked that amount, and it's a nice model for experimenting with different stitches, so that any idea I get or any idea I want to replicate from the Color Loops book, I can simply do 3-foot long loops for the back and 6-foot long loops for the front, and then I'll know that that's a reasonable sock length for me. So I think that's it for today. I just wanted to catch up with the Ohlone sweater. Ohlone, I'm sure I'm not saying it correctly, but it's gonna be a favorite sweater, I think, and I can't wait to do the green version, the fur version, and wear that out in the woods. So I hope this finds you well, and I look forward to the next Color Loops knitting. Let me know if you're interested in any of the projects, and if you ever have questions or want help getting started. Okay, thanks, bye-bye.